Hi, Linton Allen here. This is Sketch and Tell. Normally I would prefer to be with you in person, but because of the lockdown conditions, I'm bringing this to you via a video link. Now, one of the challenges for an artist is to try to capture someone's likeness and personality in a portrait. And I'm hoping that you will come with me on this little journey, because I want to try and look deep inside of the lens here and see you and have a go at doing your portrait. Now, I'm only going to do your head and shoulders and a profile, which means I'm looking sort of side on to you, so I only need to do half a face, one eye and the nose and the mouth. But nonetheless, let's give it a go, and I'm going to begin by layering down some colours before we get to the details of the eyes and the nose and the mouth. And as I do this, I'd like to throw out a little bit of a challenge and see if you can keep up with me and count how many colours I end up using in this portrait. Now, for those who might have a little bit of challenge with counting, as I did, I'm sort of mathematically challenged. This is number one. But let's just layer it down, and then I'll move to the next colour. I'll just put a shoulder over here, and I'll put a shoulder over here. And this is number two, and this is the only help that I will give you. Now, as I'm layering the colour on, and by the way, I'm working with what's called soft pastel, which I can work very quickly with, and it means I layer colours on top of each other and they blend together depending on how much pressure I apply as I drag one colour over the other. So let's just put some orange here, but as I'm doing this, I just want to talk a little bit about colour, because colour is what breathes life into any kind of art you're doing. And for me, the person who really brought the world's attention to the power of colour was a person called Vincent van Gogh, or Vincent van Gogh, depending on which way you want to say it. And Vincent, even though he was a troubled soul, he just had this insight into the use of colour, and with the way that he would use his paintbrush to put those energetic brush strokes on, and the colours that he used kind of just put, powerful energy into every one of his paintings, even his portraits. And he would use colours like blue and green and purple and orange and yellow, and people would go, wow, you're not supposed to use those colours, but then they would look at the face and just say, but it is so alive. Now, even though I'm not a Vincent van Gogh, I'm going to just sort of pick up on some of those colours. So we'll go for a little bit of a brighter red here, along with some of the other colours that I will quickly put on. Put a little bit of a colour down here, and we'll go for another red. The thing about Vincent is that also interests me is that he really found that the art establishment of his day, and even the communities that he sought to sell his paintings in, just weren't ready for his style of art. In fact, out of all the hundreds of paintings that he painted, he only sold one painting. His brother, Theo, would help him by buying his art, and that was his brother's way of helping to support him with food, to buy food and lodging and his art materials. But it was only after Vincent had gone that people realised what an amazing person had been amongst them. We'll just go for, I think we'll go for a bit of purple, and they really tried to I guess, get as much of his art as they could. And if you have a Vincent painting at home, then you're sitting with a cool piece of artwork that's worth anywhere from 30 to 50 plus million dollars. But anyway, let's keep going. So we'll just put a bit of purple here, a little bit over here, and we might go for just a touch of blue. This is where the eye is going to sit in here. Let's put a little bit of colour here before we come to that eye, a little bit down here. And we might go for a little bit of darker brown. Again, just mixing those colours together. A little bit in here as well. I'm now going to just have a look at your eyes and see if I can just capture the likeness, because the eyes really are truly the window to the soul. So I'm just looking at your eye, and I think the colour that I'm seeing is orange. So let's just put a little bit of orange up here just to match that colour, and a little bit down here. So let's put the eye, we'll put it back here a little bit. Here we go. And I'm going to spend just a little bit of time with the eye, putting some detail in, because the eye really is the way to show the expression. We'll go for a little bit of almost luminous or fluorescent orange here, and then we'll go for a dark center. Even though this looks black, it's actually a very dark purple. We'll just put that here. And we'll put a little bit of pink, I think. We'll grab a bit of pink, put that around the eye. There we go. And a little bit of eyeliner there just to define that. And we'll put a bit of pink up here for the eyebrow. There we go. And last but not least, we'll put just that little glimmer of light, or that little gleam of light in the eye, just to set it off. Now we come to the nose, and if you can just sort of turn sideways, I need to just look at that nose, and I can see a very classic nose there. So let's grab some different kind of pink, and we'll just put a little bit down here. We'll do this in 2 stages. We'll have a bit here, come here, just tease that out a little bit, and then we'll put the rest of the nose down here. And put that bottom lip on, and then we'll just put a little bit of tan, a little bit of brown into the nose. There we go. And a little bit here. And I'll quickly put some lippy on. We'll grab a bit of magenta here, and just give you that nice little sort of smile. A little bit down here, and we're nearly done. I'm now down to the final bits and pieces. We'll go for a little bit of put the nose hole round about here, and again just fix that eye up, give you a little bit of a glare, a little bit of an attitude. There we go. A little bit down here, and then we'll just imagine that there's a bit of a breeze blowing and just capturing some of the top of the hair there. So we'll just sort of tease that out a little bit, and just brush that back, and just fix that eye up. And hopefully you can see that I really am just having a little bit of fun here. Instead of painting you as you really look, I have chosen to paint you as one of Australia's most majestic and, to me, beautiful birds to watch in flight. And this is the wedge-tailed eagle. I'll just put a bit of colour as I keep going, and before I do forget, I'm just wondering if you were able to keep up with me and count how many colours I ended up putting into this portrait. And if you got to around about 21, I think, look, even I lose count, but I think from experience it's around about 20, 21 colours that I end up putting in. And that really is my way of just reminding us that colour is, have fun with colour, be bold with colour. But let's come back to the eagle. The reason I've chosen to paint this eagle is that I love looking around in the world of nature. I love looking at the small, ordinary things that might be just around that we kind of walk past and take no notice of. But when you stop and pay attention to the colours and the shapes and the texture, there's so much there to be to think about and to be inspired by. But also the big things, whether it is a starry night, whether it's a landscape, whether it's looking out across the ocean from a cliff top. But it's the wildlife that I particularly like. In Australia here we have such a diverse range of birds and animals. And the wedge-tailed eagle is the one that I'd like to just leave in our thoughts. And that is that when I do look at what is around in the world of nature, I often find that there are just ideas and thoughts there that not only inspire me for my art, but also just make me think a little bit more deeply about my life. Take the wedge-tailed eagle. There's a lot that could be said about this amazing bird, but I'll just draw one over here in flight. The eagle, of course, can fly in its own strength. It's a powerful bird, but because it's a big bird, it can only rise up from the ground using its own strength, probably just above tree level, because it takes a lot of energy to lift yourself up. What the eagles do is that they wait for what are called thermals. And in the wide open spaces in central Australia where it's hot, where the eagles usually are found, you find that the sun heats the ground and hot air rises up, and it's usually spiralling up in a thermal. And the eagles will leap off an old dead tree, and they will leap into one of those thermals and spread their wings and rise up, and they allow or let the power of that thermal lift them up, and they can relax and they can just circle inside that thermal and stay up there for hours without exerting a lot of energy. But they also use thermals in another way. And if they see a storm approaching, and if they see the billowing storm clouds rising up, the big cumulus clouds, instead of cowering from them, instead of running away from them, instead of even staying on the ground, they show incredible courage and strength, and they fly towards that storm, and they use those air currents and those thermals from the storm to lift them up and fly above the storm, to rise up and fly above the storm. And so as I finish this eagle, I want us to just think about the eagle as almost a symbol or like an emblem that stands for courage and strength and the ability to rise up in the face of challenges. And as I think about the challenges that we are all facing at the moment with the COVID-19 and the lockdown and the unknown future that lies ahead, my wish for you is that you might rise up and be like eagles, that you might have the courage and strength of an eagle. And here's a challenge also that I'd like to leave with you. I'd like you to think about an animal or a bird or a sea creature that you might identify with, that you might think about as an animal that could be like a symbol or an emblem for you, that it symbolises some kind of strength, some kind of super strength that you might like to own or kind of work out in your own life. And this is where you don't have to be an artist. You can just get some art materials, some pencils, some paper, some crayons, some paints, some pens, and just have a go at sketching that animal, drawing it. You can do it in a cartoon way, you can do it in a stylized way, you can just do a stylized name or a word for that creature. But as you do it, think about what it means for you and what it stands for, and be inspired by it. Thank you very much, and have a colourful day.